Good morning, friends. Hey, I wanted to show you something. I was delivered this morning from a food bank that my friend assists with, and they had lots of tomatillos left over. Tomatillos I love, but I'll use a few at a time. And so I want to show you how you will be able to store them and always have tomatillos on hand, because it's something that isn't readily available, whether it's in your garden or sometimes during the winter and grocery stores. Also in the food bank came lots of cilantro, and the other day I went on New Year's weekend to find fresh cilantro and could not find fresh cilantro in the store. So I'm going to show you how to preserve that. And we'll be making some things with, I believe these are called gray squash, but it's much like a zucchini squash, and I'll show you a few things. But first, you just take your tomatillos, you peel them, all of these are peeled. Okay, it has an outer papery layer on it. Throw that away. Wash them good, which I've rinsed them several times. I'm going to put them right in this bowl and take it straight to the freezer. I will freeze them and they'll become rock hard, just like little individual grapes. And then you can reach in. I will, after they freeze, I will go ahead and take them and put them in a Ziploc freezer bag, or you could seal them, or you could leave it in this container if you wanted, but I prefer not to leave it just in an open container. Some of these you see have a little bit of the brown from the stem. I try to remove that with my fingernail or a tool, just so that if I grab one and put it in salsa verde or my mock Cafe Rio recipes, I don't have the dark on. But it's not something that would hurt you. It's just not as appealing. So you can't get any simpler than that. That one seems to have a soft spot on it. I'm not going to freeze that one. I will cut it up and use it separately. After they're frozen, you could even put them on your rack, and you could go ahead and fire roast them. No, that's soft again. Okay, you could fire roast them and go ahead with your salsa verde. But this is just a really simple thing to show you how fast that was, that a whole bunch of tomatillos that could have gone to waste will now be in my freezer ready to use at impulse whenever I need it. And I will truly appreciate that. Next, I'll show you the cilantro, but thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go place this in the freezer. When they're hard, I'll give you another peek at them, and we'll put them in the Ziploc bag. Thank you. Here we go. This is the cilantro. I've cut off the ends. As you can see, they'll either go to the chickens, or I had someone suggest that if you use the cilantro stems and the trimmings from other vegetables and keep them in a bag and then throw them into your vegetable broth. If you have any bones, it would be amazing to put in there to make stock for your you could have vegetable broth, you could have a stock for soup, you could have all sorts of things that would enrich both nutrition and increase your flavor in your project, whatever it is you're wanting to do. Now see, it's good we wash them. I see one little black something. Let's see what it is. I thought I had gone through it. I think it may have just been a black shadow, but here I'm putting a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that's an excellent thing to rinse your vegetables in and to be able to make sure that there's no pesticides, or you don't know who handled this cilantro before you. So I'm going to take all of this out and I'm going to put it on a towel and dry it. And then I'm going to show you how we can preserve it. And it's just going to be amazing to have it ready to use in all my recipes. I'm doing my own taping at this very moment, so it may not be the best, but I'll be back as soon as I have this dried. We are going to make a olive oil, cilantro, garlic slurry, and then freeze it. Here it is, air drying. I'll leave it for about an hour, and then I'll come back and we will chop it roughly and make almost an olive oil, garlic, cilantro pesto. Put it in our ice trays and freeze it. And it's amazing because then you can put each cube, pop them out, put them in a gallon Ziploc bag, and have instant cilantro with garlic and oil to create the rest of your recipes. Here's just another little hint, and that is on, you know how they mark down vegetables in the grocery store. These were excellent onions, and I still could use them as onions. Just remove that green center. But I'm going to chop off these. Freeze a little tray of scallions, and they can be used in my recipe also. And if you want to leave them on your counter, they'll regrow more scallions. So that's just a simple hack so that you don't have to waste something that you think may have gone bad. You could also use the scallions on the top, cut the onion, see right here, cut the onion with the root portion, put it in a teeny bit of water for about 3 or 4 days. It'll begin to root, and then go out and plant them in your garden. So you will have used the scallions, you will have used the good onion, and then the root becomes another onion for you in your garden. Let's try not to waste. Food is valuable. I have dried my cilantro on a towel here. It's got a teeny bit of moisture in it, but it won't hurt what I'm doing at all. I'm going to do a rough chop. I like to use some of the stems, particularly in this quote cilantro pesto. It works wonderful, and it makes your product go a little further. Here, I do not have fresh garlic, but I like garlic to be in this pesto. So I've got some minced refrigerated garlic. I put a tablespoon there. And I don't have a large food processor, but this works just fine, and it can show you what I'm referring to. Get all your little, and I have washed the counter good before I started. Leaves and all of that in. Push it down as best you can here. I'm going to try to get what I just roughly chopped all in this batch. Now I'm taking olive oil. So you've got your garlic and your olive oil, and you can make it as oily as you want. I'm doing, and this is a 2-cup measure. If it were full, I did just about, 3 tablespoons there. And we'll blend it and see how it comes up, if it looks the right consistency or not. Let's see what this consistency is going to look like. I'm going to pulse it. Except for the things that caught on here's one stem that we will grind next time. And the leaves that caught here, it looks very, very nice to me. So the next step is going to be, if I want a little bit more because I don't have oil, I will add it here. Remove my blender blades. And pour it into an ice tray. As this freezes, it is just amazing. It pops right out. It's solid. You throw the whole cube in to your recipe, and you have fresh cilantro, and I've overfilled a little bit, so it's not pretty because I'm a little sloppy here, but it will be so usable and so ready to put into my recipes that I'm truly excited. There's no reason to have you continue to have to watch me process all of this. There's a little extra oil, and I'm going to put it in this one. But I'm going to teach you one more thing while we're sitting here talking about how to utilize and save. This is my onions, okay? Like I said, they were on a discount rack. I used 4 of the onions, and then the others have sat here. So this is wonderful chives. And that's all I have to do is take my chives. Oh, by the way, I did wash these prior to what you're seeing, as I washed my cilantro. So these are already cleansed and ready to be preserved. Unless the garden is growing, I don't ever have little green onions when I need them. So look what you can do. You take your green onions, you put them in your ice tray, you pour a little bit of olive oil over the top, and you have chive cubes ready to be used in your recipes. You haven't wasted a thing. All I have to do here is olive oil is an amazing oil to be cooking with anyway. So you've already got a head start on anything you're going to cook or braise or do with it. Now I'll finish filling these up, but let me show you what I meant. Here's the end where the roots are. I'm cutting that off, And as you can see, it began to grow because of the stem that was there. So I will remove all of that, and it will go to the chickens. It's going to be an issue that I'm not going to deal with. But there's still this much good onion. You can do the very same thing with your onion, and that is you can dice your onion, and you can then put a little olive oil and have onion dices with a little bit of healthy oil, ready to pull right out of your freezer in case you don't happen to have a fresh onion on hand. These are just ways in which you and I can both use up things that might otherwise go to waste. Pretty awesome to already have diced onions, scallions, and cilantro with garlic ready to use. It's going to go right into my freezer along with those tomatillos that I showed you. And it will be a wonderful, wonderful help when I'm in a hurry trying to do something. And I haven't wasted a thing. I can continue to clean up these onions. And then, excuse me, I threw away an important part, and that is this. I'll take a shallow container and put water in it. Leave it there for about, 4 days, 5 days. It will already begin to root, and then throw it in the garden, and I'll have bulb onions come spring. Thank you for watching, and I think there may be a few more things that we could show you how to use up. Anything like celery, if you had celery or celery leaves, you could do the same thing with, okay? And that is an amazing thing to have, because quite often I use a few stalks of celery, and then if you don't do something with it, it goes bad. Quite often I blanch it and put it in my dryer, and then use it in my creamed soups and in my stews. Hope that you'll think about how to use what we have and just get the principles of how to cook, and then you can make it tasty, and you can make it healthy, and you can save on your grocery dollar. Thank you. Remember, I said I got quite a few of these gray zucchinis. I've already trimmed them. Somebody said that they use their trimmings from their vegetables like this, all different kinds of vegetables, their stems from their cilantro, and put it in their vegetable stock, which is an awesome idea. This will probably go to our chickens. But here, I have a KitchenAid. It's a lazy man's way of hurrying and grating cheese, vegetables, anything you want. And I'm going to do this, throw it in the freezer. I will measure it to 2-cup measurements, because that's what my recipe calls for, which I can either pull out and make my full-fledged vegetable, zucchini bread, or I can, don't want to get my finger here, and this is a little bit big, so it goes to the chickens. But let me show you. That's all you do is you take and pre-measure. This is a sandwich bag. I believe it'll hold 2 cups. And I make mine nice and full. And then, if you want to refer to one of my earlier videos on banana bread or sweetbreads, if you throw this in the freezer, I got the air out, there it is, it's packaged flat, ready to put in the freezer. It'll go a little watery. And some people don't like to use it watery. But on that secret recipe I gave you that I just made up when I was a missionary in Hawaii, making banana bread, and I came home extremely tired at night, but the students at the college could use some food. You'll find it's all you'd have to take is this package right here, 3 eggs, and a vanilla cake mix, dry vanilla cake mix, and a tablespoon of cinnamon. And mix that up, nothing more, no oils, no anything, so it's really a healthier one than my original zucchini recipe that most of us use, and you will have a delicious sweetbread. Try it if you get a little extra squash, because it certainly is a fast, easy, delicious one. I always add nuts. You can add nuts, chocolate chips. You can even add coconut if you want, but or you can put a little bit of cocoa powder, like a tablespoon of cocoa powder, in your dry cake mix, or use a chocolate cake mix, and you have chocolate zucchini bread. I think you'll like this. Today I had a whole counter full of vegetables that had been shared with me. So if you'll just try it, I think you'll find ways in which you can utilize anything you get from the garden, from somebody else's garden, from a food bank, from the store, and not waste. Thanks for watching. Hey, I forgot something. On the cilantro ice cubes, add a little salt as you process it or blend it, to make sure that it helps in grinding the herb. But salt is a preservative, and I didn't even catch that until my first ice tray. The others have it in it, but the first ice tray, I licked my fingers as I set the tray down and realized I had not put salt. So salt's a great preservative, and that way you would have it already in your herb to be able to do it. You can do all sorts of herbs this way. You can do, if you grow basil or sage or rosemary or any of that, you could blend it and make almost a pesto type thing. You can put garlic or onion in it, a little salt, and freeze it in ice cubes, then put it in Ziploc bags and identify what your ice cube is. And that way, if you buy fresh herbs, they're expensive. If you grow fresh herbs, you don't want to waste them, and quite often you have a plethora of herbs when you grow them, and then there's a famine when it's not the season to grow it. So try it. I think you'll like it. Let me give you a fast peek at what I got done in probably 30 minutes, 35 minutes at the most. And that was cilantro, scallions, onions, in pasta, in a pesto type mix that'll be frozen and put in it. The tomatillos are all frozen and hard. And here's the zucchini ready, and nothing was wasted. I think if you'll just let your mind wander, you'll find how to cut your food bills and save on the precious food we do have.